are here live at A3C, just having a great time here in this music and tech festival after we spent 2 days at Venture Atlanta, here at the Atlanta Innovation Studio, powered by MailChimp. I'm Alex Gonzalez, and I am here with a good friend, Darren Eales of Atlanta United. How you doing, Darren?
Hi, Alex. Yeah, good to be here. Yeah, excited.
And so, of course, the first question, I'm going to ask a sports question first, then I'm going to ask what some people say, what is the president of Atlanta United doing at a music and tech festival, which you guys are a sponsor of, by the way. But let's talk a little bit about, just a real quick update on the team, because I know right now another exciting playoff race going on with Atlanta.
No, it's one of the good things with Major League Soccer is because we have a salary cap, it's always very tight. But this year there's about 4 points splitting between second and 10th, and the top 7 make the playoffs. We're 5th at the moment, so I feel pretty good. I think we've been good the second half of the season, and we've had the experience. So if we can get into the playoffs, I think we'll be a dangerous team.
Some big matches. Miami will be next week, so it'll be a fun, exciting match. So it'll be good to see that as well. Well, so let's talk about here, kind of starting here. I know since you've been here, you've always had an interest in the tech and creative community in particular. As you start building the brand for United, and Atlanta United is a sponsor here at A3C. Why is that kind of the creative and tech community important for you?
I think as we built the club, as you know, we're a pretty new club. We've only been going 5 years. And when we built the club, it was very much about focusing on Atlanta. And I love the city of Atlanta. It's this young, diverse, exciting, dynamic city. And I think when you look at our fan base, it sort of mirrors that. It mirrors that entrepreneurship, that creativity, that diversity. So I think there's a lot of synergies in how we built the club almost as a startup and with the tech community. So I think those synergies really sort of do bear out.
And if we kind of go back a little bit to the broader AMB Sports, which of course are the Blank's organization that runs United and the Falcons and the stadium, I believe, and maybe fill us in a little bit, there's been like a venture fund that was announced?
That's right, yeah. So we've got an AMBSE Ventures Fund. And again, I think it goes back. People forget with Arthur Blank, like he was an ultimate startup guy. Home Depot was founder, one store here in the 70s in Atlanta that grew to be one of the biggest retailers in the world. So again, when I look at Atlanta United, having the mentorship of Arthur, someone that understood you don't get a second chance to make a first impression, that's part of his mindset, that innovation. So the Ventures Fund for us, we're looking within our sort of sphere, so sports and entertainment. We're excited. If I take, with my Atlanta United hat on, we're already testing a few things. Super Sapiens, a local company that does real-time glucose monitoring. So we're testing that out in partnership with them. So for us, it's about how can we sort of help, that venture in, we're looking nationally, but obviously if it's in our backyard, then it's something that we're interested in.
Yeah, well, that's pretty exciting too. And another thing that I know it's really kind of key to you, it's been a kind of cornerstone of the brand since even before the, soccer ball was kicked, is about fan experience, customer experience. And of course, if you think about Delta and Home Depot, everybody's worried about customer experience. But how have you kind of kept up with driving a unique fan experience in the brand? How do you make sure that you have this special United experience?
Again, I think, great credit to Arthur with his background. I think it's been the biggest learning for me coming from the English Premier League. So I must admit, you can almost take the fans for granted because there's a history where if your family was a Spurs supporter, for example, you'll still be a Spurs fan. I think here we were building a club from scratch. So in reality, we had to win it, hearts and minds, one fan at a time. And I think we just carried that on. So 5 years in, every decision we make, we think about the supporter, how it's going to affect them, and that's the lens through which we look at it. So, I mean, and you'll know this when we launched it, we had our mantra, Unite and Conquer. Unite was focused on the fans. So before we had players, we were using imagery of our fans as, as being part of the show, being part of the club. And then whenever we did the Conquer element, that was our player imagery. And we've continued that. So we've just recently been doing some Pride billboard around the city because it's, Pride Month in Atlanta. But we've used our supporters in those. So we're sort of showcasing our supporters, and I think that's the connection that our fans really feel with the club, that they really feel part of a movement, they feel part of something special, and it's vital that we continue that. We can't ever take that for granted.
And I think part of that too, one thing that always amazes me, which is just fantastic, is I still think we have the best support of any Major League Soccer team, in the country. And United is just mentioned by so much, particularly our younger, talent here in Atlanta. And it's so much part of pop culture. So how do you, and even everything from the Golden Spike ceremony in terms of getting the music, industry involved, how do you kind of, what do you do to kind of keep embedded in pop culture and keep that excitement going?
Yeah, I mean, look, I think firstly the experience. I would say, and I would say this, wouldn't I, because I'm Atlanta United, but I think it's unique to all the sports in North America, the soccer culture. So if you come to an Atlanta United game, it's an hour and 45 minutes.
Yeah.
Everybody stands throughout the game. Our supporter section under the window to the city is non-stop singing, chanting, and they do the songs. They sort of, it's not us saying defense and telling them to chant. It's them creating the songs and the culture. And so what we try to do is just amplify that and help engage them. I think it's been the same with even the celebrity scene. So we've had celebrities from day one, but they're coming off their own backs because they want to enjoy the experience. So it's not us saying, look, we're going to pay you to come and make an appearance.
Right.
You know, they come to the match, they love it, and Waka Flocka is a great example. He's been a friend of the club right from the start. Right, the last game I had Sir Nick Faldo, so we had English sort of royalty hitting the spike, but then me and Waka Flocka were doing a TikTok on the pitch afterwards from Squid Games, the red light, green light. So I use that as an example to show across all spectrums and all ages, all demographics. It's the excitement of the game, I think, that draws people back.
And I think it's been great too to showcase that. I mean, really, we're this creative center and this, and this movie center, music center. I mean, Owen Wilson, of course, was when he was filming a movie here. I know he's been there.
And he was here Wednesday night. So Owen was. Owen came back with his kids.
Yeah.
And this is Owen because him and his kids love the experience, and I think that's the reality. It's not. They're doing it because it's unique. You come to an Atlanta United game. I mean, I love bragging about it. We're the top 10 in the world in attendance, but the atmosphere is incredible, and that is what's special, and that's what's unique. And what I really love about it, I feel it's a microcosm of Atlanta, because you look at the stands, you look at the diversity, the age profile, and it's that thriving, exciting community that we've got here.
Yeah, and there's been a lot of discussion in the last few days and today about inclusion, and it is amazing how much the United name comes up. And so I think that's a real testament to the brand building. And I'm sure early on it was like, well, a name like United, yes, it's been so perfect for.
Yeah, and I mean, I remember early days, people were saying, well, United, there's another United, DC United. But remember, we'd spoken to our fans, we'd done focus groups, and it was clear that United meant more in Atlanta because of the diversity of the city, the history.
Right.
And look, the reality is, literally no one ever says anything about it now. It's the perfect fit for our city. It's the perfect sort of embodiment of what we're trying to do.
I think people actually rally around it.
Yeah.
I think it really gave somebody, I know for me being at a match and generationally and ethnicity, race and all that, and people really connect to it and believe this is what Atlanta should be too. Well, talk about kind of the world stage, because Atlanta United does have a big reach globally, so at least that's a perspective I get. But is the brand talked about outside the United States as well quite a bit now, particularly the players we have?
Yeah, I mean, firstly, it's great now on recruitment of players, because it used to be we were really hard sell, what Major League Soccer was, what Atlanta was as a city. But I'll use our latest signing, Luis Araujo, came from France, so came from the champions of France. And when we spoke to him, he'd already spoke to a couple of players that had played in the league, people that he knew, and they'd all been universal. Atlanta is a great place to go. So, that's an example of this global brand that we've got now. The other example I can give you is merchandise, so kit sales. So we have the kits, and the way it works is Adidas said about 8 years ago they made a decision that they were only going to allow an extra kit if you reached a certain threshold.
Right.
And they put the bar really high and no club had got to it until we came in. So we were able to have a third kit this year. It was our Unity kit. We launched it at the Center for Civil and Human Rights.
Yeah.
Again, speaking to what Atlanta is as a global city, but it was the first time that Adidas had taken a shirt from Major League Soccer and sold it globally. So again, we're now part of that conversation where Atlanta United is seen as one of those big clubs in North America. I'd include, Mexico in that. We're seen as one of those big clubs, and that's obviously our big push, because we want to be the top club in MLS, but our goal is to be a top global club.
And a global brand, right? Just like, some of these other clubs, and Tottenham and all that, people think it's a true global brand. Well, speaking of the global picture, though, definitely getting your, I would love for you to kind of explain, for someone who does not know soccer or football, the FIFA World Cup, as we are one of the cities, obviously being being considered to host. How big really is the world, for someone who doesn't know it, how big of a deal is it?
It's massive. I think, if you still what blows my mind is in 1994, so the United States hosted the World Cup.
Yeah.
94, that was before MLS had started.
Yeah.
So there was no professional league at the time. And that's still the most ticketed World Cup ever. So this was, we're now, 30 years later where we've got a professional league in place. And to give it some sort of reference point, so the draw, so when they draw out the groups for the World Cup, so basically it's just a boring show with ping pong balls and they draw the group, that gets more viewers than the Super Bowl. Just that event. So that gives you a perspective. The World Cup itself is 6, 7x a Super Bowl, and you're going to have 80 of those games in a World Cup. So from a TV, from a just recognition, it's huge. But actually from on the ground, it's such a lot of fun. And if Atlanta could get it, we're really hopeful that we could be, hosting 6, 7 games, perhaps have one of those later stage, really good knockout games, perhaps a semi-final. But what I love about World Cups, and I've obviously been to a few of them in my time, is Holland comes into town and you've got all the fans wearing the orange. You'll have the Ivory Coast coming in, bringing their culture. Honduras, whoever it is that's there that travels brings that culture, that party. So I think Atlanta is going to be an amazing city for it because we've got the airport, we've got the hotels downtown, we've got a campus that where our stadium is that people can party and just have fun. I think it's going to be amazing.
Well, I'm looking, I will say for me personally, as someone who did not grow up with soccer, but then had a kid who played it, and then remember as watching World Cup with him as a kid, that's what got me to fall in love with soccer. The global, the United, it's really everything we talk about that United is doing, it does it at a global stage.
No, it's huge, and look, it's a blessing for us as a league because we've got this chance in 26 to reach that next fan. I mean, we've done a fantastic job, and it's been incredible how the city's got behind the club. But our aim now is to build that more casual fan. Perhaps that fan that's never been to a soccer game before, hasn't really been interested. The World Cup draws them in, and then we get them to United games, and we really feel that there's a high ceiling for us.
Well, as we wrap up here, Darren, since we're here at the A3C Digital and Music Festival, I got to ask you about a new trend you're driving. You've caught on to a new trend, which is TikTok. So talk about your entry into the TikTok world.
Well, this is funny because our social media team brought it to me and said, look, I've got Twitter, I've got Instagram, would you do a TikTok account? I was like, okay, as long as, I'll give it a try, I'll see how it goes. And it was incredible because I did something with Jürgen Damm, so one of our Mexican players, he's got quite a lot of followers. We did a stupid thing where we were just basically following the camera around, and now in Major League Soccer it goes LA Galaxy, Atlanta United, and then my account's the third highest, more than any other club. We've got like 120,000 followers. I love it because it's so irreverent and fun. So like I said, we did a piece with Waka Flocka around Squid Games on the game, after the game on Wednesday. I just like that you can have fun with it, and that's what we stress in Atlanta United. It's we're in the entertainment industry, so sometimes we take it a little bit too seriously in all sports. We think that it's a matter of life and death, and clearly it isn't. It's about having fun, and I think the social media channels for me is another way for us to communicate with our fans and show a different side of the club, of the personalities, and that's what it's about. It's about drawing people in and engaging them. Well,
we talked several years ago when the club was just starting on Disruptor Studio, and we had you on there because I think you're an innovator and able to drive a culture of innovation and organization, and you continue to do so. So thanks for everything you're doing for Atlanta and supporting this also creative innovation community. Because just so people don't know, Darren, behind the scenes here is really a huge supporter of the growth of our innovation and creative community here in Atlanta, along with Atlanta United. So thanks for doing that. Good luck. Looking forward to the upcoming match and the rest of the season and playoffs.
Cheers, Alex. Thanks a lot.
Nice seeing you.
Appreciate it.
And we'll be back here at A3C Live shortly with some more great guests.